We have spent the last few sessions to review chapter 6, right, from mindfulness. Now we're going to review the last factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, right concentration. I'll skip through a few paragraphs. Firstly, the definition, concentration here represents an intensification of a mental factor present in every state of consciousness. For others, someone like Ajahn Brahm, he prefers the word stillness because it represents concentration can have the connotation of exerting a lot of effort to focus on a certain meditation object, putting all our effort on it. But Ajahn Brahm describes it more like it's the process of letting go and then letting your mind be still. So that is another angle of looking at this factor of right concentration. You can call it right stillness. Okay, let's skip this one. Yeah, it's also important to distinguish between the right concentration in the context of Noble Eightfold Path, but there's also concentration of other kinds. What are some of the examples? A gourmet sitting down to a meal, an assassin about to slay his victim, a soldier on the battlefield, specifically a sniper who has to keep still for long hours. You can also say his concentration, but these are all act with a concentrated mind, but their concentration cannot be characterized as samadhi. In Buddhism, samadhi is exclusively wholesome one-pointedness, the concentration in a wholesome state of mind. So there is an important distinction between samadhi, right concentration in the Buddhist context, and some other concentration that people might experience. Okay, I'll skip through this. There are two types, two methods of concentration. One is the development of serenity. The second is development of insight. Both paths have certain requirements. For both, moral discipline must be purified, various impediments must be disappeared. We must seek out suitable instruction and resort to a place conducive to practice. For serenity, we have to obtain an object of meditation, and then we use it as a focal point for developing concentration. So development of serenity will lead towards attainment of deep concentration. For development of insight, vipassana bhavana, it will function as the incidental accompaniment of the path intended to generate insight. Okay. So here, 40 meditation objects are listed. 10 kasinas, 10 unattractive objects, 10 recollections, 4 sublime states, 4 immaterial states, 1 perception, 1 analysis. Let's go through quickly what are these objects. The kasinas are devices representing certain primordial qualities. The 4 kasinas can be earth, water, fire, and air. Another 4 represents color, can be blue, yellow, red, and white. The other 2 are light and space. That's for the 10 kasinas. For the 10 unattractive objects are corpses in different stages of composition. The next 10 recollection form a miscellaneous collection. The first 3 is the meditations on qualities of the Triple Gem, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. The next 3 collections on morality, generosity, and potential for divine-like qualities in oneself. So now we have 6. The last 4 will be mindfulness of death, contemplation of unattractive nature of the body, which has been dealt in the previous chapter, mindfulness of breathing, and the last one, the recollection of peace, a discursive meditation on Nibbana. The 4 sublime states, defined abodes, are the outwardly directed social attitudes, loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Four immaterial states are objective bases for deep levels of absorption, base of infinite space, the base of infinite consciousness, the base of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. The last 2 of the 40, the 1 perception is the perception of repulsiveness of food. The last one is the contemplation of the body in terms of 4 primary elements. Yeah. What are the 4? Earth, water, fire, air. There's so many meditation objects. Now the question is, which one should we use? If you're confused, don't know what to choose, you can always just go back to mindfulness of breathing. The reason there are that many meditation objects is that one has a different disposition. If you have certain qualities that you would like to counter or reduce, for example, if you feel a lot of aversion, then you can do meditation on loving kindness. If you feel like you're affected by sensual lust, you can do mindfulness of the bodily parts. If you want to increase your faith in the Buddha, you can do recollection of the Buddha. If you feel that you are lazy or you are slacking, you want that sense of urgency, you can do meditation on death. Yeah. So each object has its own purpose. Yeah. And lastly, if you're confused which one to choose, comes back to the breath. That's the list of concentration. That's the list of meditation objects. Now we're going through the stages of concentration. At this point, any questions or comments? If not, I will continue with these stages of concentration. Okay. This paragraph is describing the factors of the jhana factors. What are the 5 jhana factors? Very quickly. Initial application of mind, vitaka. Sustained application of mind, vichara. Rapture, piti. Happiness, sukha. And one-pointedness, ekagata. Yeah. For the definition of these 5 factors, you can read through this paragraph. These 5 factors counteract the 5 hindrances. Each absorption factor opposes a particular hindrance. Okay, I will skip through this paragraph. Okay, all of these are some of the stages before you attain the first jhana. There will be learning sign, then you will see counterpart sign, and then you will get enter the stage of concentration called upachara samadhi, assess concentration. So not yet first jhana. Yeah, it's a long journey. You're only entering the, after doing all of this, you're only entering the neighborhood of absorption. Yeah. Still need to put in more work, more effort. Okay. Here, it mentions the difference between assessed concentration and jhana. What differentiates them is the absorption, the strength of the jhana factors. In assessed concentration, the jhana factors are present, but they lack strength and steadiness. Finally, if you keep putting in the effort, if you keep continuing, then you will enter the first jhana. In the stage of absorption, it's divided into 8 levels, each marked by greater depth, purity, and subtlety than its predecessor. The first 4 form a set called the 4 jhanas. A word best left untranslated for lack of suitable equivalent, though it can be loosely translated as meditative absorption. The second 4 form a set, the 4 immaterial states. The 8 have to be attained in progressive order, the achievement of any later level being dependent on the mastery of the immediately preceding level. Here is like the stock passage for the first 4 jhana. Yeah, you will see this. If you read the sutta, you will encounter this many times. The first jhana, it will mention the factors of jhana, initial sustained application of mind, filled with rapture, happiness born of seclusion. And then the second jhana, it will mention what factors are removed with the subsetting of initial and sustained application of mind. One gains inner confidence and mental unification. Then he enters the second jhana. Rapture fades out. He dwells in equanimity. Then he enters the third jhana. And lastly, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, with previous disappearance of joy and grief, one enters the fourth jhana. Has the quality of neither pleasure nor pain and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. Okay. These are all the descriptions of the jhana. Further elaboration, I'm going to skip this. You can read through if you would like to find out more. And then after the four jhanas lies the four immaterial states. Levels of absorption in which the mind transcends even the subtlest perception of visualized images, still sometimes persisting in the jhanas. What are these for? Base of infinite space, the base of infinite consciousness, base of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. Even when one has reaches this stage, when one has attained the last stage, here the text says, these absorptions reached by the path of serenity, as exalted as they are, still lack the wisdom of insight, and so are not yet sufficient for gaining deliverance. And here, Bhikkhu Bodhi mentioned lies in the danger. When someone attains this stage, it feels like the defilements are completely removed. But if you haven't attained if you haven't entered the stream, yeah, then you are still not on the way to liberation. Yeah, one can mistaken or think that he has already attained enlightenment, but actually the defilements are still latent inside. What we need to do to gain insight, to gain liberation, we can, instead of focusing the mind, instead of fixing the mind upon a single object, there's another kind of concentration which does not depend upon restricting the range of awareness. This is called momentary concentration. The way to do this, we do not deliberately attempt to exclude the multiplicity of phenomena from our field of attention, but we simply direct mindfulness to the changing states of mind and body, noting any phenomenon that presents itself, maintain continuous awareness of whatever enters the range of perception, clinging to nothing. Then your concentration will become stronger moment after moment until it becomes established one-pointedly on the constantly changing stream of events. Despite the fluctuation in the object, the change in the object, the mental unification remains steady and in time acquires a force capable of suppressing the hindrances to a degree equal to that of assessed concentration. This fluid mobile concentration is developed by the practice of the four foundations of mindfulness covered in previous chapter, taken up along the path of insight. When sufficiently strong, it issues in the breakthrough to the last stage of the path, the arising of wisdom, which we will review in the days to come. At this point, we have finished reviewing the right concentration. Any questions or comments?
What about Nirvana? Is it nothingness?
Well, that's a tough question. Maybe we should practice and find out ourselves what is Nirvana. Even in the sutta itself, Nirvana is described many ways, but feels like nothing that we can intellectualize or imagine. But for me, yeah, this is my own personal preference of definition of Nirvana. It's just the complete and final end of suffering. Yeah, but you can describe Nirvana in many ways.
No, but in which state? In nothingness or in the state of nothingness?
It's probably not nothingness. How about others? Do you guys have an answer to Craig's question?
Right, I think the basis of nothingness, the basis of consciousness, all that are the immaterial states. So all that are still under concentration. So in order to get liberated or get free from our suffering, we need wisdom. Practicing concentration is just sort of like preparing ourselves so that our mind can really focus on understanding about the true nature of things and realizing it for ourselves, so that we don't cling on to sensual desire, to the five hindrances. We don't get obstructed by the five hindrances. So we have to put together all the 7 factors of enlightenment. We need effort, we need mindfulness, we need to go and investigate, we need to practice ourselves and really to understand and realize it for ourselves, instead of just saying it in the form of words. So we have to really see that our body and mind, is just made of material and mental states, and we should not think of that as me, mine, myself, that kind of thing. So if eventually we are able to understand that and let go of our attachment, then there is the state that we will not suffer. Even there is suffering, we will not suffer. Something like that. I also don't know how to say it in words. Yeah.
Okay, thanks again for adding on. Perhaps tomorrow we can take a look at how Nirvana is described from some other materials. Thanks, Craig, for the question. Thanks again for adding on. Any other question or comments? If not, let's do a dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a concentrated Wednesday ahead. Thanks everyone for participating. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.